Welcome back to the Book Nook. I hope you're having a lovely day. We're going to talk about my top 10 Freidas. Now, I've read more than 10 Freidas at this point, but we're just going to go with this list for now, and we'll talk about those at a later date. I've actually, at this point, when I'm looking at this, I made this up and I spilled coffee on it yesterday. When I wrote this, I've read 11. So we have a bonus one. Are we ready? Okay, let's talk about number 10. Okay. Ward D. This is a story about med students, and they have to do their rotation on a psychiatric ward. And the story follows Amy, who is especially nervous about this because she has a history with this specific place, and the fact that they have to be locked in at night, locked in a mental ward. So this particular book I did give 4 stars to. Okay. It was really good. There were some parts of this book, though, I remember that I was like, again, some of her books, you're like a little bit out there. I'm not going to lie. Some of her things, I'm like, obviously it's a thriller. So, but I don't know. Anyways, I gave it 4 stars. Okay. The next one was The Surrogate Mother. Okay. And this story is about a couple who has tried everything they can to have a baby. And then this too good to be true opportunity comes their way. And this to me was like a big duh. Like you read this book and you're like, what are you thinking? Like these characters, I'm like, do you actually think this is going to work out? Spoiler, it doesn't. Okay. It's a thriller. So we all know. Yeah. What could go wrong? One is Dead Men. Okay. Number 8. This book was about a group of students who are going to a school, med students again, obviously, med. And Heather, she really, really wanted to be a doctor like her whole life, okay? And she realizes that it's grueling, but she didn't think that it would literally, her life would be in danger. And it was. This school is known for students unaliving themselves by drug overdose. So it doesn't have a good history. So, but she really wants to go. So yeah, so that follows us. Okay. My number 7 book was The Perfect Son. Now, Erica Cass has tried to protect her son from himself his entire life. Okay. And she believes that she may have failed in that area because a girl has gone missing. This twist, I remember I was like, I did not see this twist coming. It was so good. I'll put my rating up here. I just remember I was like, what? Yes. Okay. The next one is The Devil Wears Scrubs. I believe that this is there's another book in this series. I'll put it up here if it is, because I think this is like a duology. But this story follows Dr. Jane McGill, and it is not a thriller. And I think when I read this wasn't the one I read, but there's another one on the list. And just to forewarn you, because I was not aware of this, she has written other books besides thrillers. Not all of her books are thrillers. Yeah. I'll tell you when not this one, but there was another one, and I'll explain. Anyways, Jane is in hell. Not literally, but pretty close. But at least there's a sexy surgeon between the grueling schedule and the senior person over her that's impossible to please. The person over her resident, just impossible to please. Okay. And it's just a grueling story about being a doctor, learning, and about her story about that. Yeah. You follow Jane through this thing. This one, this is the book that I laugh thinking about this because I remember thinking, oh my gosh, Baby City. I picked this book up, started reading it, thinking, I'm reading a Freida McFadden, right? It's a thriller. No. I kept thinking, what's going to happen to the baby? When I was probably 40% into this book and waiting for the thriller thing to happen. And I'm going, what is going to happen? Right? Is there something going to happen to a baby? Is a baby going to go missing? Is somebody, what is it? And it turned out, no. So Emily McCoy is in her third year of residency on a very busy labor and delivery floor known as Baby City. And there are three things that she knows to be true. Okay, are you ready? One, babies never come or born when you want them to. Okay, babies always come when you want them to. Okay, I don't know why that's one of them. I think this is from the synopsis of the book. If I wrote that wrong, I have to look. And when you don't know who your true friends are until a baby is sliding down the birth canal. I believe that was from Freida McFadden. This was her first non-thriller read. In fact, I was 20%. I was 20% in. 20% in. And I finally looked at it. I was like, oh, once I knew it wasn't a thriller, I was like, oh, this is a really good book. And then I was like, she's not a bad writer. Okay, so the next one is Do Not Disturb. And this is about Quinn Alexander has committed the unthinkable crime and is on run. Okay. She ends up at the Baxter Hotel. And this hotel has a very sordid history. And Freida did such a great job describing this hotel that I literally could feel the crunchiness of the carpet. Ugh, gave me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, so I'll put my star rating up there. I don't remember what I rated, but it was number 4 on my list. Okay, so my number 3 was Do You Remember? Okay. And this is a story about Tess, and she wakes up every morning and she doesn't recognize her own face. She had to read a letter to herself from herself, okay, every morning so she would know who she is, right? And this all seems to work until she receives a message to not trust her husband, who is her caregiver, right? And I can honestly say I absolutely hated this man. I hated him. He was horrible, horrible man. Okay. Oh, Freida can write these characters where you're just like, you really don't like these men. She can write the most narcissistic men you ever encountered. And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I remember thinking I hated this man. Okay. So the number 2 on my list is The Housemaid. Now, I've read none of the rest of the series. I've only read The Housemaid. I can remember I read this book and I read it in one day. Well, technically 2 days because I finished after midnight, but I started it. I could not leave this book. I could not leave the poor girl. I could not leave her. She was in the attic, right? Like, oh, spoiler. I'm sorry. This is going to have a spoiler. Could not leave her there. I was like, just get out, just get out. Okay, so Millie initially thought she hit the jackpot with this job. The Winchesters seem to have it all, right? And they do even have a room in the attic that locks from the outside, which should have been her first clue, right? Yeah, like I said, I read this in one sitting, and because I had to know the ending. I had to know the resolution to it. It was so good. I have not watched the movie yet. I am not like really a theater person. I like to watch movies at home. So when it hits a streaming service, I will be watching it, but I haven't watched it. My number 1 is Never Lie. And part of the reason why I like this book, I think, so much is because of my first Freida I've ever read. I can honestly say I don't think I've read a whole lot of thrillers, so this really sparked my interest for the whole genre. Okay, Never Lie. So yeah, so while looking for a house, Trisha and Ethan get snowed in. Okay, and they realize that the house belonged to a therapist who went missing. Okay. And while Trisha gets bored, she discovers a room with all these tape sessions, and she proceeds to listen to them and may solve the mystery of what happened to this therapist. Okay. This was my first Frida. I was absolutely taken by it, and I did not see the ending coming. I still to this day love that book. Give it 5 stars. Okay. Now, my bonus is a short story. Okay. And it is The Widow's Husband's Secret Life. Okay. And this is a satire novella. Okay. After the death of Grant, his wife is left with so many questions unanswered. Okay. And most of all, she keeps seeing him everywhere. Okay. I'm not going to give you more. This is satire. Okay. And I did not realize how much I enjoy satire. This book was like, oh, I really enjoy this. Also, some people don't like this, but I do. It had a lot of cultural references. It was such a good book. It was such a good little novella. Okay, first of all, it's a novella. Okay, it's like, I don't even know how many pages. I read it on my Kindle. It was hilarious. I laughed out loud. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. She can do satire. I know she puts out a lot of books, but I just really enjoy Frida McFadden's writing. I enjoy, she can do a lot of, I mean, she obviously can do the satire, she can do the thriller, and she can do the non-thriller, I don't want to say, I don't know if it's literary fiction, but she can do just plain fiction, right? Yeah. So her range is really good. I haven't seen her she writes a little bit of romance. She could probably write romance. Some of her books have a little bit of romance in them, you know. The one with, the one that the Devil Wears Scrubs, that had a little bit of romance in it. There was a little bit of a slow burn in there. So she's a great writer. And yeah, I make sure I read at least one Frida a month. Okay. And that's what I've been doing. So yeah, maybe I'll do another Frida week this year. How many Fridas can I read? I probably will, because her backlist, she produces books faster than I can read them. I can tell you that. But yeah, so, and they're all, pretty much all of them was on Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, so that's my top 10 Fridas. Yeah, plus a bonus. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go, and I will see you in the next one. I'm actually going to film another video, and you'll be looking for it. I don't know which will come out first. And it's about what's in my Kindle TBR. Yeah, we're just getting them done. Okay, well, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.